And, if you're wondering, well, what about the average American that doesn't own a small business? What about the average American that's not a CEO? The average American that's just wanting to get this $1,200 check? Well, that's also interesting because if you listen to some of what they've been talking about on the news, whether you watch Fox News, MSNBC News, CNN News, whatever news circuit you talk about, there's a lot of people that are bringing up the point that there's a gap in people that will not receive this $1,200. And it's super interesting because the people that are not going to receive the $1,200 are arguably some people that would actually be able to use it and would actually kind of need it. So let's talk about a couple different groups of people that are having a hard time obtaining this $1,200. And let's also talk about the requirements for this $1,200. So they had originally stated that there was going to be basically a requirement for you to have filed your taxes. And if you filed your taxes, then they would be able to basically pay you back this $1,200 as part of the federal this relief program, right? But after a lot of backlash, they basically backtracked on that, and now they're definitely making it a lot more broad. And basically, if you are not a dependent, and if you make under say $130,000, then you may actually be eligible to receive a certain amount of money as a single person. And I believe the threshold is I think it's $70,000 to be able to, if you make over that amount as a single person, there's a lot of stipulations behind this. And basically, if you are, let's just say that you're a high school student that's 17 or 18 years old, maybe you're about to graduate, maybe you're a junior going into your senior year, and let's talk about this. You actually have a lot of cost. You have cost for, obviously normally you'd have cost for prom, but you're not going to have that because prom is probably not going to happen. And, you start thinking about, okay, so you're going to be saving money, but here's the problem. You're not earning money because you're not probably working right now. And if you are working right now, there's a lot of weird things going on with the 17, 18-year-old age group right now. Because let me give you a couple examples. Let's just say that you live with your grandparents. Or let's just say that you live with maybe your old aunt because of whatever family circumstances. If you work in a grocery store or you work at Publix, right, or Kroger, right, as a lot of teenagers do, you're highly on the front lines and really probable of being exposed to this horrible disease, this horrible virus that we've got. And then you've got to go home to people that are what they would consider high risk. And so you're thinking about, okay, well, what if the elderly person says, hey, I can't have you come home. You can't stay here right now. You've got to stay somewhere else. Guys, this is a huge deal. And on top of all that, so they don't have a place to stay. And on top of that, because of them being claimed as dependents on their taxes, they are unable to take advantage of this $1,200. And let's just talk about why does a 17 or 18-year-old need those $1,200? Why? Okay, let me run down a list of reasons for you, okay? Let's run down a list of reasons. Let's be logical here, okay? One, what if they're helping their family? What if they're the reason why they're able to pay rent? They're able to pay their mortgage. They're the reason why they're able to go to the grocery store. Two, college potentially saved right there. That $1,200 that student or that teenager is potentially receiving could be the difference in them going to a 2-year school, a 4-year school, a 1-year program, okay, a trade school, whatever you want to throw out there, and they're not going to be able to take advantage of this. And so when we look at who this is impacting our young people, and it's a disease that really preys on the elderly. So it doesn't matter necessarily if you're young or you're old in this scenario. It seems like you're better off being kind of in the middle, I guess. But So those are two expenses that we're talking about covering. What about a car? What about the potential of them saving up to take ACTs and SATs? And we're not allowing these 17 and 18-year-olds to be able to take advantage of this money. And that's basically not allowing them to get ahead in the game. And if you look at what this $1,200 is supposed to do, guys, $1,200 doesn't even cover rent for some people. But this could easily help 17 and 18-year-olds really have a good head start. I mean, and we're not concerned about them going out and boozing all that. They're underage. I mean, if they're doing that, we've got other problems. So I don't know. The relief that they're giving us, I think, is a great thing. I think that the relief that the government is providing, I think they actually are doing a great job of giving us something. Okay? Do not get me wrong. Please don't clip me and make this sound like I'm anti, this relief. Guys, this is helping people. But it probably should have helped more people. And, that's just one age group. Let's talk about students in college that are from the ages of 20 to 21. So maybe you're not necessarily a senior, living on your own, providing for yourself. Maybe you're depending on your parents. And because of that, because you are claimed as a dependent, you are not necessarily eligible right away, as far as we know, as of now, okay, unless they, somehow change things. Guys, you're probably not going to see that money. And I don't understand necessarily where we can't, help those people. So when you talk about two people that are really being affected, people that are not necessarily used to using credit for small businesses, and then on top of that, it seems like the teenage and college grouped people are going to be a little bit impacted by this and not necessarily be able to take advantage of this. And I will say that there are college seniors, there are juniors, there are freshmen, there are sophomores that provide for themselves all on themselves. This does not mean that all 18, 19, 20-year-olds will not receive this check. I'm just saying there's a group of people that are not going to see it, that it could help, like it could provide for their future. I always talk about, when I teach personal finance, I always talk about the greatest things to do when you get chunks of money. Like what are some of the best things that you can do when you get a chunk of money as a young person? You get a birthday, right? And you get hundreds of dollars sometimes. I mean, some of these kids get thousands of dollars. And you can save that away, and obviously not all of it. I know some people they're not, penny pinchers, right? And if you don't want to save all of it, you can set half of it aside. You can set a third of it aside. You can set portions of it aside to save and spend. And it's just better long term. And I talk about the opportunities that you're going to get. Graduation as a kid is a thing that a lot of kids look forward to because it's an awesome achievement. And I'll be real honest, you get a lot of gifts and it helps you. It legitimately helps you. I mean, some people do not have a bank account throughout their entire high school life until they graduate. And I'm speaking to you from personal experience because I was one of those kids. As soon as I graduated, you know what I did? I graduated, I hung out with my friends that night, and then the next morning, I woke up at like 7, 8 in the morning, whatever, and I went and opened a bank account with all my graduation money. That's what I did. So like when you start talking about how this money could like change people's lives and help them, I just feel like there's a lot of missed opportunity in this relief program. And I wish that they would have addressed it, and I wish that it could have been better. But maybe that's just wishful thinking. Maybe at the end of the day, I'm looking at this from a different perspective than I'm supposed to be looking at it. Because I think the argument against all of that is that this is supposed to help you stay afloat. It's not supposed to make your life, right? It's just supposed to help you stay afloat, especially in times like this when maybe you're not working as much, maybe you got laid off. the $1,200 is supposed to help you just stay afloat. And, I'm over here advocating for, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds to be able to get this money so they can better their future. And, I mean, maybe I'm just looking at it from a wrong perspective. I don't know.